Good morning, it's a beautiful day today. We're working at the Hobart Royal Botanical Gardens doing annual risk assessment. We've come to this red oak. It's a Quercus rubra. It has history of storm damage and lots of past maintenance done on it. We've come up to the tree, and first off we assess the vigor. So that's the quality of the foliage, the percent canopy cover. Then we look at the structure, and so when we look at the structure we can see it has history of previous failures and also has got some hollows in this branch. When we look at that sort of feature, we can see that it's been maintained and done multiple weight reductions on it, so nothing to be concerned of here.
Just having a look at this Hesperocyparis arizonica. This species can be prone to be impacted by the wind. There's a couple of branches that have split in the wind. These are not posing a significant risk in themselves, but we'll be recommending removing or pruning off those branches that have split, just as they will not be long-term viable branches for the tree and its long-term structure. But overall, this tree is looking in good health.
So we're looking at this Quercus canariensis, Algerian oak. It's one of the most largest stature of the oaks, has great huge canopy. You can see branches come all the way down to the ground. It also has some of the largest leaves in the oak family. Interesting to note is that it's semi-deciduous. A lot of the leaves are retained throughout winter. Beautiful oak tree here at the gardens.
Just having a look at this Ulmus hollandica purpurescens. Had a historical stem failure, and maybe in a different location or a different tree, people may have chosen to remove it. Obviously, this is a prized specimen at the Botanic Gardens. In the past, they've installed some bolts in the tree to brace the failure point and enable mitigation of the risk of the stem failure for the public to be able to enjoy the tree into the future. We're here to just assess the current risk that the tree may pose. Any failure, the tree will try and respond usually if it has good vigor. Looking at the crown of the tree, and if it has enough leaves to provide it with the necessary energy to put it into the rest of the tree. Here we can see that there's actually some reactionary wood looking to actually close over and in time support what would be a detrimental fault in the tree.
Another couple of trees in the Fagaceae family, the Fagus sylvatica, which is European beech, has a beautiful big canopy. So we have the green and also Fagus sylvatica purpurea in purple. Look at that color. Two exact same trees, very different color. So we're just looking at some of these eucalypts. Eucalyptus pulchella. Looks like a machine's hit this, but it's actually an insect has laid its eggs underneath some of the bark, and the larvae hatched and they've burrowed their way through the outer cambium where all the sweet stuff is. Over on this tree, there's a fair bit more damage. Not sure if that's caused by the insects. This type of damage here is very consistent with the damage from Eucalyptus longicorn beetle or Phoracantha semipuncata or Phoracantha sempervirens, which are known to attack drought-stressed trees, particularly Eucalyptus marisbii. And if the damage from the larvae extends around the outside of the tree through the cambium, it can essentially ring bark a tree and not be able to access and move nutrients from the roots to the shoot. Yeah, something to look out for if you've got that type of damage in your trees. So the larvae are feeding off inside the cambium. They're feeding off all the nutrient-rich sugars and carbohydrates that are produced through photosynthesis in the leaves. That's required to be transported back down to the roots so the tree can grow roots. So there's a transport between the roots and the shoots of nutrients and sugars, which is driven by photosynthesis and solute gradation between different areas. The solutes can move up and down through the cambium just underneath the bark, but the water is transported through the center of the tree, through the xylem tissue, which is dead non-living tissue. So water is transported up through the xylem, but the nutrients are transported back and forth. And quite often what happens when a tree gets ring-barked, particularly when farmers or some people try and kill a tree, they'll cut the cambium. There becomes this large bulge just above where the ring barking happens. It's really interesting. And that's the nutrient coming down through the cambium, trying to get to the roots and not able to get to the roots. So there becomes this nutrient-rich area above the ring barking, and it turns into a large growth basically. Trees die because the roots starve from the nutrients. The roots cannot continue to grow, but water keeps transporting up and photosynthesis continues to happen. But interesting how that system works.